Hello and welcome to CVR News Network. You're watching CVR English and this is World 360 and I'm Sandeep. The Pope Francis funeral has concluded. Most of the world leaders were present on the occasion. As Pope Francis' funeral concludes, his coffin is carried into St. Peter's Basilica. The atmosphere is likely filled with reverence and reflection on his life and legacy. The journey to Santa Maria Maggiore outside Vatican City symbolizes not only his final earthly resting place, but also an enduring connection to the faith and history of the Catholic Church.
Ready to process out of the square into the Basilica. And we join the choir as they sing the Magnificat. Magnificat anima mea Dominum. My soul glorifies the Lord. Words from Luke chapter 1.
And a good Saturday morning to those of you who are just joining us this morning as we cover the funeral of Pope Francis. We are nearing the end of that funeral mass that started just over 2 hours ago. And as you just saw there, Pope Francis's body now being transported from St. Peter's Square to the cathedral where he will be laid to rest, the Basilica of Santa Maria St. Mary Major. And the casket will be driven through Rome. Hundreds of thousands are lining those streets to pay their final respects. We're told roughly 200,000 are in the area of of St. Peter's there. Officials in Rome telling us earlier this week, roughly 500,000 expected to be around the area in general, as we see the pallbearers carrying that wooden casket. His final resting place, roughly 3.5-4 miles east of St. Peter's.
Prior to the funeral, mourners gathered at St. Peter's Square to pay their respects ahead of Pope Francis' funeral. The late pontiff, who championed the poor and made history as the first Latin American leader of the Catholic Church, will be honored in a ceremony attended by the world leaders and tens of thousands of faithful. His passing marks the end of the transformative papacy and deeply impacted the global Catholic community. French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte paid their respects at the coffin of Pope Francis on April 26 at St. Peter's Basilica. The couple joined a procession of dignitaries and mourners to honor the late pontiff, who passed away after leading a Catholic church for over a decade. Macron, the key international figure, bowed his head in reverence to the part of the global tribute to Pope Francis, who was renowned for his advocacy for the poor, social justice, and interfaith dialogue during his papacy. US President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump arrived at St. Peter's Basilica on Saturday to attend the funeral of Pope Francis. The Trumps joined world leaders and dignitaries in paying their respects to the late pontiff. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited the site of deadly Russian attack on Kiev on Friday, where at least 12 people were killed. The attack, which targeted a residential area, left widespread destruction in its wake. Zelensky, accompanied by alternatives representatives, paid his respects to the victims, laying flowers near the ruins of the destroyed building. The visit underscored the ongoing toll of Russia's invasion on Ukraine's capital, as Zelensky continued to rally global support for his country's defense and resilience in the face of the conflict.
Наша позиція, вона незмінна, тільки український народ має право вирішувати, які території є українськими. І Конституція України говорить, що всі тимчасово окуповані території, вони тимчасово окуповані. Вони всі належать Україні, українському народу. Україна не буде визнавати юридично будь-які тимчасово окуповані території. Мені здається, що це абсолютно справедлива позиція, вона законна з точки зору не тільки Конституції України, хоча передусім, але і з точки зору міжнародного права.
Там цей Трамп каже, що це помилка, мені сказали, що це помилка якась. Ну так прийди, скажи тим людям всім, які загинули, що це помилка.
Наша позиція, вона незмінна, тільки український народ має право вирішувати, які території є українськими. І Конституція України говорить, що всі тимчасово окуповані території, вони тимчасово окуповані. Вони всі належать Україні, українському народу. Україна не буде визнавати юридично будь-які тимчасово окуповані території. Мені здається, що це абсолютно справедлива позиція, вона законна з точки зору не тільки Конституції України, хоча передусім, але і з точки зору міжнародного права.
Там цей Трамп каже.
Following a deadly terrorist attack in Pahalgam that killed 26 civilians, India responded with strong diplomatic and economic measures against Pakistan, including suspending the Indus Water Treaty of 1960. In reaction, Pakistan People's Party chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari issued a provocative statement. He also accused India of falsely blaming Pakistan to cover its internal failures.
सखर में इसी सिंधु दरिया के साथ खड़े होके भारत को कहना चाहूंगा कि सिंधु हमारा है और सिंधु हमारा रहेगा। या इस दरिया से हमारा पानी बहेगा या उनका खून बहेगा। हमने आपसे वादा किया था कि हम सिंधु को बचाएंगे। हमने कहा था कि हम निकले हैं सिंधु को बचाने के लिए, और इन खदशात से, इन खतरात से हमने तो बचा दिया है। ये आपकी कामयाबी है, ये सिंध का कामयाबी है, ये पाकिस्तान का कामयाबी है। मगर साथ साथ आपका सिंधु पे एक और हमला हुआ है। इस दफा भारत की तरफ से सिंधु पे हमला हुआ है। आपने सुना होगा कि मकबूजा कश्मीर में दहशतगर्दी का वाकया था। हम सब ने उस दहशतगर्दी का वाकया का मजम्मत की। हमने कहा कि दहशतगर्दी के मुतासिर तो पाकिस्तान भी है, दहशतगर्दी का मुकाबला भी पाकिस्तान के अवाम कर रहे हैं, तो हम उतना ही मज़म्मत करते हैं। जो दहशतगर्दी का वाकया मकबूजा कश्मीर में हुआ, मगर भारत ने पाकिस्तान पे इल्जाम लगाया है। भारत ने अपना कमजोरियां छुपाने के लिए, अपने अवाम को बेवकूफ बनाने के लिए मोदी ने पाकिस्तान को झूठे इल्जामात पाकिस्तान पे लगाए हैं कि ये इस दहशतगर्दी के वाकया के पीछे है, और इसकी वजह से इन्होंने ऐलान किया है कि ये इनका एकतरफा फैसला है कि जो इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी है, जो मुआहिदा हुआ पाकिस्तान और भारत के दरमियान, जिसके तहत भारत ये मान चुका कि सिंधु आपका है, सिंधु पाकिस्तान का है। मोदी ने और उनकी हुकूमत ने ऐलान किया कि अब वो ये मुआहिदा नहीं मानते, और मैं सखर में इसी सिंधु दरिया के साथ खड़े होके भारत को कहना चाहूंगा कि सिंधु हमारा है और सिंधु हमारा रहेगा। या
A powerful 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck off Ecuador's coast near Esmeraldas at 6:44 a.m. local time, injuring at least 20 people and causing significant structural damage. The quake, recorded at a 3-kilometer depth, led to power outages and temporarily halted operations at Petroecuador's Esmeraldas refinery and South pipeline. President Daniel Noboa launched a full government response, dispatching ministers to coordinate aid and shelter efforts. A 4.1 aftershock followed in Guyana's Ecuador, prone to seismic activity, previously faced deadly quakes in 2023 and 2016, claiming hundreds of lives. Gaza's health authorities report that Palestinian death toll has reached 51,439 after 18 months of Israeli military assaults. Injuries have soared to 1,17,416, with 84 Palestinians killed and 168 wounded in just past 24 hours. Since the end of the ceasefire on March 18th, over 2,000 have lost their lives. Gaza's government media office also revealed that 212 journalists have been killed since October 2023. The humanitarian crisis deepens as global concerns grow over the escalating violence. US President Donald Trump criticized the courts on Friday, saying they are holding us back after Wisconsin Judge Hannah Duggan was arrested for obstructing an immigration arrest. Duggan, who allegedly helped a man evade immigration agents outside her courtroom, has sparked controversy amid the ongoing conflict between the Trump administration and local officials over immigration enforcement. This incident reflects the broader legal clash over immigration policy during the Trump's presidency.
That's a terrible thing. The judge was arrested because he was housing a trendy Iroquois, right? Is that the one you're talking about? It's pretty surprising. It's terrible. The border is the most secure it's ever been. We're having a very hard time with judges because they don't want people to be moved out of the country. Shockingly, nobody's ever had this before. No other president. There's never been a time when this has ever become an issue where they talk about due process. When you have millions of people that you're moving out that are really bad people, very dangerous people, and you have a judge that wants every single one of them to have a trial. So they want us to have millions of trials, therefore. And how long does the trial take? Weeks? The trial can take weeks. That's not what it's about. That's not what our country's about. And that's not what I got elected on. And these are judges that just want to, show how big and important they are. They're local, federal judges, and they shouldn't be allowed to do it. We have hundreds of thousands of people that we want to get out of the country, and the courts are holding us back. Some judge that nobody ever heard of is holding us back. It's very dangerous for our country. I mean, if you want to see a country that'll have crime, let that happen.
The streets of the Omani capital Muscat ahead of the third round of high-level nuclear talks between Iran and United States have become vacant. The recent negotiations are the highest level engagement between the long-time foes since US President Donald Trump withdrew during his first term from landmark 2015 nuclear accord that offered Iran sanctions relief in return for curbs on its nuclear program. And that's the end of the World 360. Stay tuned to CVR News English.